Good evening. Oh, come on. Act like you're happy to be here, okay? We are, you know.
How's everyone? Wow, that's loud. You don't need these microphones.
No.
Blow them away with the majesty of our voices.
Quite right.
To the back of the room. Y'all look so pretty.
You got a pretty mouth, boy. Oh my God, you didn't say that.
Remember we talked about inside voices and outside voices, Paul. We've been over this.
Oops. Okay, hi everybody, I'm Paul St. Peter.
Scott McNeil.
Hi, I'm Christina B.
And Max Middleman.
Okay, we can all go home now, thank you.
Okay, you guys are great. Thank you.
We've done our part.
This is where we just stare at each other. It's time to close the doors again and pump in the interesting gas. Soon you will begin to feel relaxed. You may experience a mild tingling in your extremities. Then all of your worries and problems will be gone, along with most of your personality.
And what small change you might have in your pockets.
I don't know how their wallets disappeared. It was weird.
Okay, guys, welcome to Voice Actors Unplugged.
It's unplugged.
Is that the unplugged part? We didn't get mics.
Check. One, can. You hear, back. Are you good? Just, check.
Okay, well that was interesting. Everybody having a great MetroCon so far? Me too. Okay.
Because we live in a very ADD world, ADOS, attention deficit, ooh, shiny squirrel boobies, what? We essentially, or at least speaking for myself, have no idea what we're doing up here. So if y'all have questions, we may actually be able to provide answers that may or may not be truthful and or accurate. Yes, sir.
First of all, hi.
Hi.
This is more for you and Christina, since I got to ask Max.
Oh, great, fun.
Neither of us are wearing pants. Next question.
Of the people you've worked with so far, who would you say are among your favorites to work with, and who have you not worked with that you would like to?
I would love to work with everyone I've never worked with before. Because I'm social like that.
Call that answer, Scott.
I had a really great time working with Rebecca Sugar on Steven Universe. Really sweet, and it's just great to meet somebody who's just so imaginative and so driven, and she was amazing. There's a director I work with a lot named Bob Buchholz.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, Bob. He's also the voice of Gene Starwind on Outlaw Star, which is very interesting to me. So, yeah, Bob and Tony Oliver is great, and
Tony.
yeah, and anytime I get to work with the Disney guys, they're always really like sweet and. Okay, so yeah, those are my favorites, but yeah, thank you.
Shh. Okay, somebody else pick. Can they hear this?
Hey guys, we have a new challenger.
Oh my God, is this thing on?
This mic is precarious. It's very high, and the XLR is about to crack. Oh wait, no, if we move this way, yes, perfect. I have an engineering degree. Hi guys.
Three.
Oh, my name is Max Middleman. I'm a cool anime guy. My name is Ray Chase. I'm a voice actor. Yay, boo. Play Noctis in Final Fantasy, Roy from Fire Emblem, and I hate Velvet from Tales of Berseria. Lots of stuff.
Looks like we just cut to the chase.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
haven't heard that before.
Oh, I get it.
So I guess it's been. You can leave. Yeah, you can just leave. One voice actor eliminated.
Who will be next on the voice acting challenge?
I thought about what I said and I was wrong and I'm very, very sorry. No dad jokes. I'm seeing hands.
Yes, yeah, we had, yes,
These three questions are like for like Christina to be comically
Oh, I'll stay then, thank you.
We probably don't need the last names at this point. I think we're all friends at this point.
You know, people get Christina and me mixed up all the time, you know. So they need to use the last names. I get that, but by now we all know each other well enough.
They both have dancer legs.
Christina,
Yes.
how was it like when you did like your take on Fujiko Mine, when you did like your take on Fujiko and
oh, and Lupin.
on the third, like the Genghis Grave?
Sure. It was pretty nerve-wracking if I'm being TBH. Because she's such a well-established character, and a lot of my favorite voice actresses have played her in the past. And you know, when they called me in to audition for it, it was just kind of one of those surreal moments. And then they cast me as her, and then you know, she was naked for most of the movie, so that was interesting too. But yeah, it's really cool to be able to play like a character that I grew up with, and I'm glad I got to have a turn as her.
And Scott, you voiced like when I was a kid, you used to voice Rat Trap in Beast Wars. What was the funniest part? What was the most hilarious like line that you did when you voiced Rat Trap?
It doesn't involve farting? That show was unbelievably fun to work on. Because the writing on it was brilliant, the cast in it was great. I had fun because I played 4 of the main characters on it, so it would be like, okay, Scott's got one of his scenes coming up. And it would just be, you know, live. It was like, even so infirm, one more crack like that and I will take you out the old-fashioned way. Brutally! You would like to see you try it there, Dino Boob. What should I say? I was hanged. No, I know. Shut up, Red Trap. We're all gonna die. And, you know, Waspinator would come in. Waspinator never get to fight for anything. Waspinator has a headache in his whole body. And then Silverbolt's a strong, proud, brave, and smart like a bag of hammers. So, I mean, that basically was like on the inside of my head, but I got to wear it on the outside. It's noisy. So, in other words, I had a ball. That was like playing on the monkey bars all day.
And Paul.
What?
Yes, my son. When you're St. Peter, you say, yes, my son.
It was like, during my childhood, the Digimon Leomon. And of course, Leomon is Leomon. But you notice that Leomon is notorious for dying in a lot of
Well, my very first series was Robotech, and that was, I played Zor Prime in the second chapter called Southern Cross. Episode 25, I blew myself up on a spaceship. I didn't know that that was going to be the pattern of my career. Because almost everything I do, I get killed. And yes, the first time that happened, I got, you know, sucker punched as Leomon, and I was on the ground, and I think I said something like, you know, remember, you're a lion, you have a lion's heart. And I went, oh, and I thought, oh man, and they said, no, 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 he's coming back, don't worry about it.
Like, you also voiced another lion character in One Punch Man as the Beast King.
Beast King, yes.
I found it very, like, when I first heard your voice as the Beast King, I felt like you were Paul voicing another lion character, and he dies again.
Oh, yeah, and the thing was, when they brought me in, they said, oh, here's a picture of your character. I looked at it and I said, okay, just a minute, you know. It's almost identical to Leomon, and I said, well, I know what voice I'm using too. And yep, they killed me, one episode. Dead, you know.
You're welcome. How many many punches did it take to defeat him?
As usual. In the back there, sir, with the red stripe.
Okay, this is a question for Scott. Many years ago at Chaoticon, back when there was Chaoticon, I asked you a question regarding a role that was featured on your Wikipedia page. It was as Duratan on World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor, and you had a rather whimsical look of...
Oh, that's right, because I wasn't allowed to say anything. All I need is a fellow warrior at my side and a wolf at my back.
And you looked at it and you're like, I can neither confirm nor deny that.
That's correct.
Is that because did you know that you were cast?
Oh, yes.
You just couldn't say anything.
Now, keep in mind, I have been playing that game every day of my life for the last 10 years. I was busting. I was just like going, I can't say anything, I can't say anything, I can't say anything. And then I had to stop playing the game because I was in it. It was like, But that was my big exciting news that year.
Quick story. I played a character in World of Warcraft as well, and my brother plays it a lot. And I came home one day and walked into his room, and my voice was coming out of his computer. And I walked up behind him, and as my character was like, it was Prince Ferondus, and as my character was like, "Save us," and then I'd walk up behind him and be like, "Save us." And I would just echo all of the lines that came out of the computer, and after about 3 or 4 lines, he's like, Is that you?" And I was like, "Yeah, bro, it's me."
Yeah, you know what I do for a living, right?
Yeah. So that was fun.
And I just did some more stuff for a while too, which I'm really excited about. And another really cool one that I can't talk about at all, although it might take place in rural Montana.
Oh, nice.
And I'm pretty stoked about that.
Where men are men and sheep are
nervous.
Yes, right there, please.
Yes.
Right? Well, what character would you rather play besides Noel? Like if you had to choice.
If I could be anybody differently in Blaze Blue, Kokonoe. Yeah, she's cool. I mean, but I can't be too greedy because I played, what, 5 characters? So... Yeah, I play like Noelle and Moo and Nu and Lambda and cats and stuff. Sure.
Can you sing a couple of verses of Super Driver for us?
Sing?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been so long. Super driver, don't give up, 'cause la 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 la. I won't stop till I reach the top. Get ready, go.
I leaned in to follow up to like support you with a beatbox, and then I didn't know.
Too fast.
Well, it's okay.
We're gonna find another one.
It's not. It's never too late. It's too late.
I'm gonna go, yes. Sorry for the rude point, but...
Listen, it's your Max. I was wondering, I know you played Flag in Rakkus Ladybug.
Yes.
How like hard is that on your voice?
It's not.
Did that not destroy your voice?
It doesn't destroy my voice.
It's almost like I would compare it to Rob Paulson's Yakko. I'm not comparing it to. I'm just saying like the placement of the voice is probably similar. Oh wow, I'm digging a hole.
Oh, so many questions. How about over here? Yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm really glad you guys are here. You are a really big inspiration to me, especially because I want to get into voice acting myself. So my question is, since you guys are all very talented voice actors,
Oh, stop.
How much was that, 20 bucks?
I was a college student, I have no money. But I was wondering, when you first started to get into voice acting, was there a particular character from the show as a kid that inspired you to become a voice actor?
Interesting.
For me, it was Sailor Moon. Yeah. That's my higher answer.
I would say for me, I used to run home from school to make sure I could get home right at 4 o'clock for Kimba the White Lamb. Oh, great, thank you. And my inspirational character was Daniel the Baboon. Oddly enough, about 20 years later, somebody was trying to bring the show back, and we did a pilot episode, and what did they cast me as? Daniel the Baboon. Unfortunately, it sat on a shelf. It's never been produced again, but I was there going, yeah, I remember the voice. I remember doing it just like this. And so the director was excited. Oh, wow, it sounds just like him. Never ran.
Casey's. I mean, I grew up with all the Warner Brothers, all that stuff. I do for a living now what I used to get kicked out of school for, you know. Actually got kicked out of theater school for that. You said actor, the voice actor, and Paul and I both hit on this, and I think it's important. It's actor first, always. You know, I spent 4 years full-time classical theater training, you know, physical dance, blah, 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 blah. But I've always had dreamt of doing this thing because I have these voices in my head. I was in Disneyland, which I was obsessed with, and I finally managed to get myself and my family down there when I was 12, and I'm in the Haunted Mansion, and you hear Paul Frees's amazing, you know, that, welcome, foolish heart. I found out that he was also the voice of the Pillsbury Doughboy, and something in my head went, beep! I'm not alone. And I went, that's what I want to do. I didn't think it would ever happen, but that was the moment. Thank you, Paul Frees. You know what we should do is whoever just got the last question, you have to stand up and then pick the next hand.
Oh, nice.
I love you too.
Let's see. Because you were raising your hand for a while.
Yeah, but she forgot her question by now. It's been so long.
I just have to leave soon, and I really wanted to ask Christina. You've probably gotten this question a million times, but what's your favorite part of playing Marinette?
My favorite part of playing Marinette? Oh, okay. So because I usually do like shows that like localization, so they've existed before. But for Ladybug, it was not a thing yet. So I got to see like, you know, the concept art, and when I learned about the show, I went online and there was like that anime trailer of it. So it was really exciting to see the fandom grow really from like, you know, just being excited about the PV and now how huge it's become. I think that's my favorite part, is being on the ground floor and watching the fandom develop. And I was really excited when it was first released because I could finally talk to people about how amazing the show and the characters are. So that's my favorite part.
I also hate to ask you this, but do you think you could sing the theme song?
Life finds a way.
I can sing it, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Another day, I'm back at school. I think about him, he's so cool. He looks at me, I look away, but does he see me anyway? Ah, la 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 la.
Carl and I are going to be dropping some beats later. Actual beats.
Thank you so much. Yellow.
Do you have any least favorite roles?
No. I'm a polyphonic prostitute. If you pay me, I will make those sounds. They're all golden. I don't work at McDonald's. I do not have to sweat for a living. It's all great.
Yeah, I suppose we can all say there were rules we like the most and that sort of thing, but I'm an actor and I get work. And no, I don't dig ditches. So it's great to be able to do that. So it's hard to say rules we don't like, that sort of thing. Typically, I'm in love with everything I do, and I make sure the director and the writers know it too. You get to pick the next one, so do stand up.
Yeah, the one with the glasses.
Sorry. This is for Scott. Are you planning on cosplaying this con?
You know, no, it's funny you should ask, you know. That was kind of an odd accident. That was good friends of mine from Boston, just something before coming down here went, we made you a Koga outfit. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be awesome. And it was, but we went, how are we gonna get, because I know a lot of people here. And I do tend to be chatty. So we went, okay, so we set, and got me pinned into this thing while I was sucking my gut in, and put like people in my hat running in different directions and trying to run this blockage and this interference going, it's gonna be a madhouse. Walked into the convention center, and it was like, if you want to penetrate the hive, dress as a bee. People that I have known for years were just coming up and going like, hey, fucking great cosplay, man, that's wicked. I'm like, what? It was absolutely a change of identity. I mean, it was just the perception was no longer, it was, I'm like, dude, I just signed your boob. We've known each other. I ceased to be anything other than just, you know, what everybody else is, which is, that sounded really lame. But it was really cool, and it was tons of fun. And then when I came running into my panel, everybody kind of lost their mind.
It was great. I was there for that panel.
Yeah, it was fun.
Fantastic.
And I salute anyone that wears a Koga outfit because that first skirt is a little on the itchy side.
Oh, crap. Okay. You.
Okay. So this one is for everybody. What's like a funny moment that happened in the booth?
It doesn't involve farting.
Well, mine only have farts involved.
Yeah.
So
Like a prank that one of the producers or somebody did.
There was one moment in Sword Art Online 2 when I was playing one of the Sleeping Knights. To set the voice, the casting director has to be in the room, but the casting director was not in the room. And so the character ended up sounding like this. It was like, hi, I'm June. But just to play a prank on the casting director, I was like, hi, I'm June. And so that got sent to her first. So I never found out what she thought about the voice.
well, I was doing a show called Battle Beat 'em On, and does anybody know that? Battle Beat 'em On. Yeah. My character, who was Armada, was this big, huge, fluffy kitty, you know. Oh, yeah, if you guys know the show, okay, I was a big kitty. And Armada sounded like this. I use this voice all the time, you know. And they always talk about these other actors that when they do their first take, they always do a comic take, you know, just for the fun, you know. And so I was...
I'm killing this thing now.
I don't think that, or my heartbeat's increasing. I'm not sure what is it reading me? So, and I don't do that. I tend to rehearse on the first take, or sometimes we do it in one take and this is the end of it, right? So they said, well, this other guy's really funny. I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna do one. So I waited for my moment. Armada had this one scene where he was going to lead the kids through this tunnel to whatever was going on with the show, right? And if you think in terms of what you're watching on TV, the camera is pointing at the characters, and we talk about off camera just as though it was a film or whatever. Well, Armada leans there, sticks his butt up into the camera, looks over to the kids and says, "Follow me, kids." You know? So I have 4 flaps. I thought, what can I do with this? So they got up, and sure enough, he sticks his butt in the camera, and I said, "Now sniff my ass." And they played it for every actor on the show for the entire week. It became, I mentioned that to Steve Bloom. He goes, "Oh my God, I forgot about that," because he worked on Beat 'em on too, you know.
We finished up Beast Wars. I mean, there are some very juicy outtakes that often occur spontaneously within the confines of the studio, where some of the forbidden words are used in colorful and creative manners. Mainframe denies this to this day, but at their Christmas party, they released a video, and so they had animated these, rendered them, showed it. It was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. Like, we were dying. And then it was seen and never seen again and never spoken of again. They're like, "No, that never happened." I was like, "I was there! I saw it! God damn it!" So it exists in a vault somewhere. Somewhere.
Shush, Caleb. No. You're the one with the glasses.
Yeah. This is another question for Christina and this time Max Middleman. So, I was wondering, what would it be like if Neo from K-On! Found out that she's the same voice actress who voices Hawk the Pig from Seven Deadly Sins? What would her reaction be?
Well, I can tell you my reaction, having voiced both those characters. Hawk is one of my favorites, and working with Chris Kaysen, it's mostly just laughing through takes. So yeah, it's great. I'm glad I get to play so many different kinds of characters.
What would Mia react? What would her reaction be when she finds out there's the same voice actress as?
This is so meta. I think she would just think it's cute and probably would walk around making pig noises all day like I do. So.
Wouldn't she have a life crisis now knowing that she's not real?
It's not her real voice.
Yeah. Right. And everything she says is actually someone else, like a puppet.
Yes.
An existential crisis.
I can see that happening actually with that character. She's very nervous, so yeah.
And Max, what was your favorite part when you voiced Hallelujah from Shin Megami Tensei Apocalypse? Shin Megami Tensei 4.
You voiced the character named Hallelujah?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll never forget how to spell hallelujah. That part right there. That's my favorite part of the whole thing.
What was the best line that you did, or like favorite moment that you did when you voiced it?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's really tough to think of a line from that character because I think we recorded it in one day, and so it's a lot of lines that come at you at one time. But this remains to be my favorite moment of the whole game.
Yeah. Because the question wasn't directed at me, I'm going to leave. I actually have a Lava tech rehearsal to go to. If you guys are around tomorrow night at 6:30, hopefully we're going to see if we can get the projector to work, and we'll actually have a show with me, Max, and Robbie Damon. Thanks, guys.
What kind of show is it?
It's an improv and sketch show with audience participation and prizes.
And remember, you could be sitting in the splash zone.
Cool.
Down here, please. Skull Leader.
Skull Leader.
He's not picking them.
Okay.
What up?
Love Robotech. You guys are all great, but this question is for Scott.
Aww.
What's it like being the only person to do the role of Wolverine that's an actual Canadian? And could your version of Wolverine beat up on Steve Bloom's version of Wolverine in the fight?
Shots fired.
Wolverine has never been voiced properly. Ever. Because either, it's like, of course, he's always basically a variant on, don't make me get all Canadian on your behind. Or he's Australian, which is really weird. And I'm both Australian and Canadian, so I went, hey, I can do that. But I've also been to Northern Alberta. The real Wolverine is, so frickin' scene, buddy, coming over the hill, right? Fucking drop my Ryan Coke right there, schnick fucking pound him right now. I did a whole bit on that. Somebody went, if you record it, I will animate it. I want this to happen. Because I was up there shooting a film, and I'm like, I'm not making this up. You know, sometimes we do talk like that. Oh, fucking buddy, man, I'll frickin' pound you right now, right? Hockey fight you right here. Fucking put the Ryan Coke down, bam. If you ever want to turn a Canadian into Wolverine, just give him rye. It's like kryptonite for us. It's the forbidden cocktail. I'd totally kick Blum's ass. But I like Steve, so I wouldn't.
But you could.
Down here, please.
Yes. Hi.
How stoked were you when you found out you got the role of Ryuji from Persona 5?
I was super stoked. I actually remember saying, I was talking to Ray and Robbie at the time, and I was like, I just want Ryuji. I just want Ryuji. I don't want anything. Because Ryuji has a personality. I was so stoked. And then I found out he had more lines than anyone else, and I was like, yeah.
Don't take line request, but could you please say, for real?
For real? You're welcome. I see a Saitama way in the back, so I'm going to choose you. It's not a cosplay, it's just a Saitama figure.
So this is a question for all of you. I wanted to know, have you ever played a character that really affected you emotionally because you related to them so much? And so they're probably like your baby now?
Well, there was this serial killer. Oh, is this thing on? Oh my God.
He really hated cereal.
Frosted Flakes, dead, dead.
Is that what I did there? Somebody was paying attention. Wow. This requires us to not be superficial. Yeah, it's like,
Wait, let's open it up to, what if it's a live action character too?
Yes.
Something you played on stage or screen?
I've been at it backwards in a way, because I've been doing cartoons for a long time. And a lot of them, before I'd ever been to a convention. The very first convention I did was, I think in '99, it was BotCon in California. And so I go there and I'm just like, oh my God, all these people, this is so trippy, man. And I'm going, you know, I have the world's most anonymous job. It's really cool. So I'm standing in this room full of all this madness and cosplay, and people are drawing, and I stand up and I come up behind somebody that was drawing a picture of Waspinator. And I'm like, Waspinator likes this picture. And he just did like one of these, it was like, oh my God. I mean, I'm like, what, am I on fire? Is there a spider on my head? He's just like, but they had just aired, if you're familiar with the show, an episode called Code of the Hero, where Dinobot died. And that was kind of a big deal. I didn't know that at the time. But, I mean, people were coming up just in tears, going, you know, and when and I thought, wow. And then it kind of forced me to revisit it and go, you know, maybe there's a little more to this than I thought there was. And then it started to kind of retroactively give it, because it was a great, tragic, awesome figure arc. I almost sounded like I knew what I was talking about there for just a second. And then it just ran out.
It was brief, but it was beautiful.
Yeah. If you could edit a different ending onto that answer, it would be great.
Most affected, you say? Like, you know, a role that affected you the most? Wow. You know, luckily I'm emotionally balanced enough to where I don't take on the characteristics, you know, that kind of thing. But, well, I'd probably say Orma. See, everybody goes, oh. Well, you know, I don't want to bother anybody, but You know, I'm feeling very larval right now. What kind of affected me the most was, first of all, people were listening to my work. When they finally got to hear me, as opposed to we go in and we talk by ourselves, and a lot of times there's nobody recorded yet, you know. You're the first one to work. But everybody came to me and said, I'm falling in love with Wormmon. I'm falling in love. That little guy is so sweet and so wonderful. And as the character developed more, and again, wonderful scripts. I can't stress it enough. They write good scripts and we get to do these things. Just the sweetness and the vulnerability of Wormmon is probably something that affected me more than anything else. Because I was a rat bastard before I played that role. So.
For me, it's Homura Akemi from Madoka. And it's very hard. It was difficult to record a show, and it took a long time, you know, at least 2 months, when really you just want to see what happens. So recording like any show is like watching something in really slow motion. So she was with me for a long time, and Christine, my best friend, plays Madoka. And starring, is anybody here like really amped to see Madoka and they haven't yet?
Oh wait, no, I've seen it.
Okay. Okay, so not really. Okay, so that scene where Homura, sorry, this is a spoiler if you haven't seen it, where Homura shoots Madoka. Sorry, spoiler. It was intense because it's Christine and she was already recorded, and yeah. And then the movie, the third movie that came out, talk about like a character arc. So yeah, she's my favorite.
There was a show I did called Alone in the Sea. Not a lot of people saw it, but there was a scene in there. Another spoiler. But basically, the character goes into a coma for 5 years, and when he comes out of it, everybody's older. He stays young. It's like a cocoon thing, so he stays actually like a kid. And when we did Scene, there's a moment where he's like kind of like yelling at a friend of his, like, you don't understand what it's like to be in this weird position where that crush that I had on now, or that person I had a crush on, now she's all grown up and I can't have a crush on her anymore.
Does the word MILF mean anything? It's the best of both worlds.
I hadn't thought about that. But there was a moment where he's like yelling at his friend, and it's really tearful, and he's crying. And in the booth, I was like shedding tears, and it was really emotional. And I did like the perfect take, and then I remember the director going, "All right, that was too long. We got to do it again." And I did it like 7 more times, and it was terrible. But I'll tell you, the role that affected me most was not something that I voiced, but from a game called Final Fantasy VIII. A character, Squall was affected me very much, but then there was Zell, and Zell was like this weird scene kid / super angsty teenager, and I was like 11 when I played that game, 10 or 11. I feel like I was just on the cusp of puberty, and like I was like, ooh, he resonates with me. The anger that this guy has, I'm angry for no reason. I don't know why. So that definitely resonated with me.
Squall resonated with me very much.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, we are getting this lovely wave from the back of the room, which either means hi, count my fingers, or time is running out. So, we're going to go into what I call the lightning round. Lightning round question. Lightning round, and this has to be fast. No fooling around and no finishing with, so how do you get started in voice acting? So, everybody that has a question, put your hand in the air. Keep your hands in the air. Right there. That's it. And we'll call time. Any other hands cannot go up. Every hand will be answered as we go.
Good.
Yes.
Stand up, please.
Sorry, time's up. Moving on. Thank you. Yes.
How many times did you have to say Kingdom Hearts?
How many times did I have to say Kingdom Hearts? As many as they paid me.
Yes.
Are you guys at all upset about the new people who were doing voice acting as opposed to what you started out with? As far as like the new things on, you know.
Should Christina and I leave?
You kids get out of here. We're going to talk about stuff. When we used to use tape and microphones.
Let me put my dentures back in and I'll tell you about this here.
No, the more this world grows, the better and greater it gets.
A high tide raises all ships, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, and it just continues to elevate what we get to do. It also makes it more of a pain in the ass to get work, so yes, but no.
Well, there's so much more work out now with Netflix and Amazon and all the streaming services online. There's way more stuff out.
Yeah.
So even though there's more people, there's
Yes, down here, please. Okay.
Rick and Morty.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I don't watch TV, but when I do, it sometimes might be forged in fire.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
I was on that show. Oh my god. This is so great. Casey Jones.
What's your favorite fruit?
Grapes.
Steve Bloom.
Steve Bloom. Yep.
Cranberries.
This is fast. This is fast.
I'm sorry.
That was quick.
Favorite classical film? I was just reiterating the question.
African Queen.
There you go.
The Man Who Would Be King.
Metropolis.
Yeah, nobody knows.
That's a classic. Yes.
Harold and Maude.
That's not. I tell you, the young kids' voice these days. Yes.
Citizen Kane. Is that what you were expecting? On Golden Pond.
I don't understand. Yes.
Yes.
It's when I don't catch myself doing it that I get worried. They happen all the time. It's a constant stream with me.
We are out of time, my dudes.
Oh, I promised I would get to everybody.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Wait. What?
Okay, like how fast can we go?
Super
Red. No time to hesitate.
Oh, she said, what's your favorite line in Planes Like Thomas?
Okay.
Yes.
What's your favorite bad movie?
All right.
Favorite bad movie?
There are no bad movies. Yes. Yes.
Hi, for Christina and Max. Do you know if Clyde and Marinette meet in season 2?
I don't know anything yet.
So hyped for season 2.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
What is your opinion on candy corn?
Blue. Yes.
How is recording EPO?
Say what?
EPO.
How did you like recording EPO? How did you know EPO?
They paid me. I had a great time.
Yes.
For Christina, you did Riven. I'm assuming they told you the lore. Can you confirm that Riven killed Yasuo's master?
I don't know.
No.
Sorry.
Why don't they tell you?
I don't know.
Can Max do Yakko impressions? Has he already done the whole?
What?
Can you do Yakko impressions? Has he already done that whole?
Nah.
What do you think of Rick and Morty?
Bacon. Yes.
What reason screaming into the mic and then just going dead quiet?
Yes.
For Max, did you know about Puyo Tetris before you were casted as T?
Nope.
Yes.
Was there ever a voice that made you feel exhausted at the end?
The only thing I've ever done that actually physically hurt me, Dragon Ball Z exhausted me for a decade. And playing Cobra Commander, which I did briefly after Chris Latta passed away, hurt me. That's the only one.
What else? How many more? Yes. 3 more?
Was there ever any roles that you never managed to get that you really wanted to get?
Yes, every role that I ever auditioned for and didn't get.
Same answer.
All part of my plan to take over the world.
This question's for all of you. Which character do you think was the most difficult to get into?
Killua.
Yeah.
Saitama.
Kiwimon.
Amanda Banshee from Whack World of Tex Avery because she was 90 years old and she was a woman. First one character I played in anime, we're all winning this.
Is that the last hand over there?
Okay, how many hands are still up?
Just one?
Just one? This is it.
one.
Make it good. Do not screw this up. Everybody turn and stare.
So, for the audience designer, for Christina, in Knights of Sidonia, when you played the 22 Limited sisters,
yes.
How difficult was it to differentiate, like voice-wise, between the two that actually spoke?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
This is 22.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you guys.